Who would win Worlds? What do you think? Well, I am slightly biased because we lost to Damwon. So I would assume that Damwon will win Worlds. Just because, you know, that would make us maybe the second best team at Worlds. But I think both Damwon and Sunning is really strong. So I actually don't know for sure. But we were screaming against Sunning and against Tess. And we were, by the end of the bootcamp, we were winning most of the games against both teams. So I would say that Damwon has better chances, just based off scrim results and based off how they played on stage. We lost to Stunning as well. Okay, I know. Yeah, in groups. Yes, we did. I know. It was 1 and 2, right? But you see, against Sunning it was 1 and 2, and against Damwon it was 1 and 3. That just makes Damwon better. It's just that simple. Our scrims against Damwon. So against Damwon we didn't really get to play much because they would assume we face them in the semi-finals. And that just means we didn't really scrim against Korean teams. Except for, I mean, we did scrim like few games against Damwon. We scrimmed few games against Genji and few games against DRX. I think Genji was like the worst. I think DRX was actually pretty good. And I think that Damwon was definitely the best out of the 3 teams, but we scrimmed them only 1 day. So it's not like a big deal, I suppose. I think we went like 1 and 4 against Damwon on the day we scrimmed them. So that means we won 1 game on stage and then we lost 3. So kind of accurate, I suppose. The second game against Suning, the Senna game, I think we overreached a lot. I think like the draft was actually not so bad, but I think we overreached a lot. So that's why it looked so bad. But I mean, when you compare it to the game 4 against Damwon, where we lost in like 19 minutes, fuck man, we got so fucked. 19 minutes game. It's so sad. I'm laughing, but I'm actually crying inside. What the fuck? 19 minutes game. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, what happened there? Okay, but when you think about it, like, let's just look at the positives. We cannot just keep being negative. I would really love to be negative, but let's just be positive for a second. Considering that we didn't really play a lot of carry junglers, and we didn't really play like a farm jungle and no gank style for the whole split, and we have been struggling into getting into playoffs in summer split as well, right? I remember after like 4 or 5 weeks, people, I mean, there was a chance we would not make playoffs, right? And I think week 8, 7 and 6 we did step up and we made it to playoffs, but there was a chance we would not make it to playoffs. There was also a world where we don't win the split. In the end we did, right? We lost to Fnatic Bo5. We went 3-2 against Rogue, which was a very close Bo5 as well. So there were a lot of scenarios where, I mean, I just think that last year we have convincingly won the whole thing. Maybe except for like 1 Bo5 against Fnatic. I think it was 2-3 as well. But besides that, we were like always winning, always on top, 1 MSI. And people had like very high expectations as going to the final and stuff. And this year we have been trying to compete with the LPL teams, and I actually feel like if we would be on the LPL side of the bracket, I think we would actually be in the final. I think LPL teams were not as strong this year as they used to be last year's. I think we could beat both Tess and Suning, sorry. Okay, I know we lost 2 games to Suning, but yeah, Bo5 is different, and also our group stage performance was much worse, and we would still define it. And by the way, just saying, the Shen that was being played in semi-finals, guess who fucking came up with it and was about to pull it off in the final, but then he didn't get into the final. Fuck! TSM speaker. No, the other player, the non-American one. So we had like our own ideas, and we had a lot. I mean, I know the scrims were going good. Like, no joke, the scrims are actually going well. When we came to China, we were getting absolutely demolished and fucked. We were actually getting just... Yeah, it was not fun. It was not pleasant. But then by the end of Worlds, we were winning a lot of games. And it felt much different from usual, because in 2018 and 19, when we were at Worlds, I remember last year when we were playing games against FPX, I think we lost like probably 90% of the games, and same goes to IG. But this year we were actually winning scrims, of course, again by the end of the bootcamp, not at the beginning of the bootcamp, so it just felt way more winnable. But then it was just fucking lost because of Korea. And that's why it makes me think that Damwon will win the whole thing, because it just feels like they are better than the LPL teams. Again, like, I think both teams are very, very strong, right? But yeah, losing to the winner maybe will feel slightly less bitter. Maybe not. It's the same thing anyway, right? How are we doing after coming back? So I think most of us are at home already. Mickey and Cap stayed in Berlin. They will be going home the next week, I believe so, at least. And then yeah, we will see how it turns out. As of like, everyone's just taking a break, right? What I wanted to say is that according to our drafts, I mean, we really liked Sylas, right? You probably know why, because you did see Caps playing it, so you can assume why did we like Sylas. And well, I mean, it makes sense, but in the meta, there is a lot of champions that are pretty good at pushing. And I think that we chose something that we thought is good, and we tried to play it, and then yeah, it just worked out the way it did. That's just that simple. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think they're just better, right? There is just not much about draft. They're just a better team. They're better prepared. They had a better read on the meta. There's just not like us. We cannot really point fingers. I know as much as people people really like to point fingers after.
Which jungle is?
I was about to explain something about the. Oh yeah, I know that people always like to point fingers after after games, and you know that's like what everyone does, right? It's just very fun to blame someone because you lost, or we lost, or whoever lost. But it's just not that simple, and I think this year has been way more like we worked so hard, and we came very close, semifinals. And when you think about it, 3-4 years ago, when a Western team would make it into the final or semi-final, that would be like an achievement, right? But nowadays we are lucky enough to have strong enough teams like us and Fnatic that you know, we are supposed to like compete on the highest level. We are supposed to like get in the final. We are supposed to win the whole thing, right? So anything that's not a #1 place is a disappointment. Well, at least it looks this way. And I mean, like I mentioned, I personally think that we did a good job, or a pretty good job at least, considering everything that happened throughout the year. Of course, it's not an excuse to lose, but I don't think there was like a... You know, against FPX I had regrets, because against FPX there was a draft that we didn't try that I think would be really good, and could have maybe won us a game. But against that one I felt like we tried everything we could.